Hello, I would like to inform you that you're about to listen to a lot of bullshit comments. So you might not agree with them, but that's the way of the world. Everyone has different opinions to you, so please don't cancel any of us, please. And I hope you enjoy the podcast. Roll the weird shit.
Why? I don't understand why you always think I give you abuse, both of you.
You do it out of love.
I won't go that far.
Valid point.
Whoa! What do you mean? Hang on. I'm feeling attacked here right now.
Well, stop inviting people who attack you onto your podcast. Only invite people that completely agree with you.
I can smile and nod. I'm good at smiling and nodding. I'm doing that through the screen right now. Definitely smiling and nodding.
That's good. Obedient people. That's what I want to hear. I want obedient people in my life.
I'm not smiling and nodding.
I'm the favourite child. Yay!
Yep, I'm the rebellious child that doesn't do anything they're supposed to, which is pretty much sums me up, actually.
Does sum you up very, very truly. Yeah. Why do I keep inviting you onto this podcast, Doc?
I don't know. You just keep doing it.
Hello everybody, it's the Talk About Podcast, a weekly podcast talking about cosplay, Comic-Con, and everything else. I'm your host, Eddie, and this week we are talking about picking the right cosplay. I'm sure it's quite easy, right?
Something like that.
Something like
Possibly.
that. Joining us on the podcast is Dot from Tessagara? Gari?
Oh my god.
Shut up! Could you talk any loud into your mic, or how close your mic is to your face?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, I could talk louder if you want me to, but I won't.
Please don't. And then we've got Cassandra for, is it C. Lestrange?
Yep, that is correct. Yeah, you got it right.
I don't know why. I have to seem to put like a French accent on C. Lestrange.
I mean, it makes me sound very posh, so I'll take that happily.
Yes, considering I know you and you're not posh.
Exactly, you know me far too well.
And sorry, just to complete that, they'll be talking about this subject and what's on. What shall I do first? Let's do introduction. So obviously everyone knows Doc because they keep. I know I keep forgetting pronouns from time to time. And,
That's alright. Throw anything at me, I don't mind.
Oh, good! I'll throw a brick at you one of these days.
I don't think brick is a pronoun.
Not even I wrote pronoun on it.
A pronoun brick.
Yeah, pronoun.
I think that's a hate crime.
It might be.
Only to you, though, directly at you, Doc. Everyone else I have utmost respect for, but for you, no.
Just none for me. That's fair.
No, that's fair. As long as you understand that, that's what. No, I know.
Let's go in love and war.
Yeah, exactly. No, I generally am just an old man. I just forget from time to time. The school I work at, someone did tell me off when I assumed their identity. They did shout at me, not shout, but they did snap at me and I'm actually a they. And I went, oh, I'm so sorry. I do apologize. Cassandra, you've not been on the podcast before. So I usually at this point at the junction of this podcast would say, how do we first meet? I can't really think. I think you just
No, I think I remember actually now. I mean, I did book you, but right. the way that I properly got to get to know you, because I met you the day before, like we shot, was
right.
Oh, who was it? I think I was doing a shoot with Sandy Smith Photography, and you guys were just screaming at each other, and I was as you do, and I was just stood there.
So that's me and Sandy, not me and Doc.
No.
Oh no, I don't know.
You and Sandy were just screaming and hurling abuse at each other, and I was like, "Are you two friends, or is there a problem here?"
Oh yeah.
And it was like that was like my first ever interaction, and then every time we moved somewhere for like different location or whatever, you were there, so you would just, again, the banter between the two of you was just continuing, and I was just stood there like, okay, this is an interesting experience, which I never thought I'd experience for myself. This is fine. And then the next day when I was shooting with you, the exact same thing happened, and I was like, and I think one of you asked me to pick a side, and I was like, I am Switzerland here in this argument. I am Switzerland. You cannot put me in this. And that was basically how we met. And then I just shot with you at other cons, and every time I saw you and you were doing your Instagram lives, you'd just hurl abuse at me. So that was it.
Sounds about right. That does sound about right. Yeah, the usual. Look, I just want to say one thing about, the use of the MCM XL grounds, that It's all my domain. Do not use my things. I have pissed on every area on it. That is my No, I'm joking. I am absolutely joking.
Lovely. Good to know. Note to self: don't lay on the floor.
Or touch anything.
To be fair, that is actually good advice. Anyway, just don't lay on the floor unless someone says to you, "Oh, camera in hand, can you lay on the floor, please? I have a good angle for this."
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus
Or
Christ.
if you know it's a spot where Eddie hasn't staked his claim.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what there are areas I haven't been that is free of my piss.
I mean, I'm still discovering new spots at MCM, and I've been going to MCM for quite a few years now, and I'm still learning like more spots.
Oh yeah. Depends how far you're willing to go out.
Yeah.
There was one point I wanted to take a photo closer to where the cable car entrance is on that side of the river.
Yeah.
And I thought, no, even I don't want to walk that far. Fuck that. just
Fair
no.
enough.
Just no. Anyway, we're talking about different things, but nice that you remember that. That story does sound very familiar and something I would do. So yeah, I would apologize, Sandy, but no.
Aw.
He knows who's spot that. No, I'm joking. It's absolutely fine. And now let's do the 7-day checkup. I'll let Cassandra just chill for a little bit. Doc, how have you been the last 7 days?
Yeah, I've had an interesting. Well, the last fortnight's been interesting because went on holiday. My uncle passed away while we were on holiday, which is always good. And I was ill the whole week, so that's why I didn't reply to your message yesterday. Was because I was at a funeral all day, which was delightful.
Oh, well, now I feel like a total asshole.
I'm sorry for your loss.
That's okay. It wasn't unexpected. It's just sad because it's always the nicest people, isn't it, that it happens to? But yeah, so that's where my last 7 days, 2 weeks has been.
Why didn't you tell me? I could have not invited you to the Did you just do it deliberately so you can just like make me feel guilty?
No. It's the thing is, he wasn't that sort of person. He wouldn't want me like laying around and moping and being miserable. That's not who he was as a person. And I think you should honour people's life when they pass away. You should carry on as you were.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Anyway, quickly moving on. Cassandra.
Yes.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm alive. I'm breathing. Getting by. Sorting
Still
my
here.
life out. Still alive. Still here. Haven't fallen over yet, which I'm very good at doing, as you've seen, unfortunately.
I remember you just telling me about that, how you just can't stay upright, and that's not a euphemism or anything like that.
No, I'm just really, really good at falling over my own feet. So it's a great time. Really recommend. I mean, it makes things entertaining, to say the least.
It's good for the bands.
Yeah, mate, at least, you know what? I can be funny on occasion. That's one of them. Only on rare occasion. You can't do it too often, or people begin to expect it from you.
See, I've had this conversation with Cal. My absolute life motto now is I don't care what happens to me as long as it's funny.
I like that.
It's worked out really well for me for like the last 5 years. So I'm just continuing with that because it doesn't really matter what happens as long as it's funny. Like, it just makes everything better.
It does, and it means that you can just go through life and not panic about things that happen. You're just like, yeah, it's funny, it's fine.
So I just taking a swig of my wine. I need that.
You're pulling a me, Eddie, and like when I'm in my English would be nice. When I'm in my Cersei with my wine.
Well, it's like a swig. It's like a pint glass of wine.
A pint of wine.
A pint of wine, please. Sir, why do you need a pint of wine? I'm on a podcast with two lovely people. Do you mean by love? There's two annoying people. Yes. That'd be a reason. I'm not drinking a pint of wine. I'm drinking just water. That's how rock and roll I am at the moment. So yeah,
Water is the way.
Yes,
hydration is key.
Hydration is key. Yes. Anyway, now that we've got the most awkward 7-day checkup I've ever done with people. Let's get on with the podcast. So we're talking about picking the right cosplayers, and I'm sure we all know how to pick a right cosplay. But I think as someone who's not a cosplayer, I generally just want to talk about it, and I just want to like hear two people's point of view about it, and yeah, because I'm sure it's as simple as I want that I want to wear that, and that is it, and that's that's fine. I'm sure a lot of people do that. I just wonder if there's something deeper into that, but also is there a point where you regret that decision or not? I don't know.
Oh my god, constantly.
Yeah. I've had a fair few cosplays I've done which haven't come back for reasons, and but they're all chosen out of love. But then there's sometimes days where you wear them and I'm like, actually, no, I hate myself in this, or it's like the enjoyment for them just goes away. So I think there's many reasons.
I think as soon as you wear them to a con, you've done a wear test.
Yeah.
And you know whether or not it's something that you can wear again.
Stop going to Comic-Con as the wear test.
Well, I wear test at home as well, but you don't spend an entire day in it at home, do you? Well,
no,
you might, but I don't.
When I try stuff, like when I try on, like, say, new cosplays, I've either, because I buy or commission most of my stuff or alter it, and usually when it comes to me trying on a cosplay for the first time, it's no longer than, I'd say, an hour at the most, just to make sure I'm happy with the fit, and if it needs any alterations. In my case, because I am short, usually it's the length that needs taking up, and it's deciding how much I take up from it. But I'd say a con is definitely like where I will get the most wear out of my cosplays.
Fair enough. Anyway, well, before we ruin the whole format of the podcast question list that I've created for this podcast, I'll start with Cassandra on this one. What inspired you to start cosplaying in the first place? You know, let's talk about the history of it. What got you into cosplay in the first place?
So I did the maths the other day, and it turns out I've been cosplaying now for about, I think, 7 years, which is crazy to me. But I always really had an interest in it when I was like a teenager, back pre-TikTok, but back in the days of Vine. Now that shows off my age, but me and my idiot friends, who I'm still in touch with to this day, we met on that app. We would make videos pretending to be our favourite fictional characters. Who gave us access to the internet unsupervised? I don't know. But we did that. So we would like try and make like costumes of these characters to do these stupid videos between like 5 of us. There was a group of 5 of us who did it. And then I forgot about it for many years, but I enjoyed it. And then when I got to university, I came across a cosplay YouTube channel when I was looking up tips for how to dress up as a character. I think it was like for Halloween or something. And I just subscribed to their channel and I kept watching their videos. And I was watching them and I was like, you know what? If these people can do it, why can't I do it? Let's give it a go. And when just so happened, my first year of university at the University of Lincoln, they hold a really small convention every year called LinkCon. And it was literally across the road from my accommodation. So I decided, let's go. Let's put a costume together and go. And from there, I was hooked. So that's how I got into it.
Cool. I mean, do you remember the absolute first cosplay that you wore? And let's not reveal how it all went, all that, but do you remember the first cosplay?
I do, because I did that cosplay for many years. It was a very terrible version, but I tried to make my own version of Bellatrix Lestrange, who ended up being my first proper cosplay and was for many years, so...
I like there's a distinction in your head that you wore it, but that's not your true first cosplay. It's later on, even if it's the same character, it's the same character.
It's the same character, but with a hell of a lot of improvements.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
That's how I got into it. Not the most conventional way, but it worked for me.
Yes, no, totally understand. Doc, what about yourself? How did you get it? I think you might have mentioned it before in a previous podcast, but let's get it noted in this podcast at least.
Yeah, so for my 21st birthday, this makes me even older. My best friend and I were like, let's go to MCM, because we'd heard about it and we'd always wanted to go, but we never had quite managed it because we didn't get out much. And we were like, everybody always cosplays, don't they? We should totally do that. And I was like, that sounds fun. Let's do it. So we spent literally months sourcing everything. And yeah, it was a bit of a disaster, but it was fine. And we had a lot of fun. And I cosplayed the 11th Doctor. And it was great.
Oh, the 11th Doctor. Who's the 11th
Matt Smith.
Matt Smith's Doctor.
Don't quite like Matt Smith. I don't know. I just found his him as a person's a bit too cocky. I've
never met the man, so I wouldn't know.
I've not met him, but I've heard he's like my neck of the woods where I used to live. And part of me went, yeah, that kind of makes sense. That
That adds up.
No, not like that. No, but it's just, to be fair, I liked his version of the Doctor. I do like his take on it, but I think I don't know. Yeah, let's not talk about Doctor Who. I'm looking forward to seeing back David Tennant though as the Doctor.
He's going to be great.
I can't wait. Yeah, because it's going to be interesting. It's not the 10th Doctor, but it's the 14th. It's a version. It's a 14th Doctor of a version of the 10th. But no, yeah. Anyway, I could do a Doctor Who episode another day. Anyway, so Doc, let's start with you. What decision goes into picking a cosplay or picking a character to cosplay? We're just talking about character on its own. Don't worry about budget or skill because we'll be discussing that later on in the podcast.
Yeah, I think for me, it has to be a character I actually really, really love. I've cosplayed a couple of characters that I like moderately because they fit into groups and things like that, which is fine. But when I go, most cosplays I do are characters that I just fell in love with for various different reasons. Sometimes I wonder about my own sanity about some of the people I pick, but never mind. And I think a lot of new cosplayers try to cosplay everything from a source. So they'll try and cosplay, I don't know, all of the characters from Love Live. And it's like, no, just focus on one. Pick one and your favourite. Because you always have much more fun in a cosplay that is your favourite character.
I can agree with that 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just more of a laugh. And also, you're better at taking the mickey out of them, which is also my favourite thing to do.
Of course you would do that, yes. Yeah.
Yes.
What about yourself, Cassandra? What is there a longer process you do from picking a character, or is it just like I like that, I like the costume, or?
I mean, I know with me, similar to what Doc said, I tend to only really go for characters who I have to really love them to cosplay as them, because cosplay is not a cheap hobby, so I don't want to just do something for the sake of doing it and then end up hating it. So with all of the characters I have cosplayed who are still on my page, because there have been some characters I have taken off, they're all characters I still love, and I have a lot of love for them. And along with that, I have to really like their costumes as well. I'm not just going to do something because I'm like, oh, they're a cool character, I really like that character. I want to actually have the urge to wear what they're wearing, whether that be pleasant to wear or not. I'm gonna want to wear it. So for example, my Yennefer from the Netflix Witcher, when I watched the first season, I absolutely loved it, but I didn't find any of her costumes interesting.
Yeah.
In the first season specifically, but when season 2 came along, I really liked what she wore, and I ended up, that's the Netflix version of her that I cosplay is season 2. Because I just really liked her dress, and it turns out that's now one of my most comfortable cosplays I own, so it was a smart person move there to wait.
Fair enough. Okay, then. Well, let's talk a little bit deeper about the connection then and I'll stick with Cassandra on this one. You talked about how much you need to have that connection. I mean, how important is that to you about having that connection to that character, or is it case by case? Because could you look at a costume and go, I like the design but I hate the character type of thing? Is it, how much of that connection do you want to have with that cosplay show character?
I mean, with me, it is, I'd say, the main priority, because have been some characters I've looked at where I'm like, oh yeah, they have a really cool outfit, but I know that I wouldn't want to wear it myself, or I don't have a big enough connection with them to go, yeah, you know what, I'm going to spend all this time and money doing this for a character. It's like with the characters I have chosen, I'm looking at my Instagram now. My most recent post was a Cersei Lannister post. Although I wouldn't condone anything that she does, I just always found her really fascinating. And looking at the character from another lens, in a way, I look at it in quite a theatrical way, because I have a background in drama and theatre. So I look at it in that way, and I also think when I'm looking at her costumes, I've done quite a few of her costumes now. Would it be comfortable? Would I wear this if I was in that universe? Is this something that I would want to wear if I lived in Westeros? And I tend to go from there, but it has to be a character that I really feel something with, whether they just be my favourite, or if I find them fascinating, or again, like I can look at a costume that a character wears and go, yeah, that's really cool, but that won't make me automatically go, right, let's start investing things into this.
Okay then. Have you been tempted to pick a character that you have no connection to, or that is so important to you that you won't deviate from that criteria?
I have been tempted by like other characters who I don't feel as like strong of a connection with. But at the same time, again, it's that thought of, if I'm going to be investing so much time and money and effort into this, I don't just want to do it for the sake of, oh, I just thought that looked nice. I want to do it for there to be a deeper reason behind it all. Especially because you can do cosplay on a budget. But mine are not very cheap, unfortunately, to the avail of my bank account. So if I am going to be spending so much money and so much time and all this effort, and so even with some, to be uncomfortable when I wear them, because whether that be corsetry making you sit and stand a certain way, or wearing heels, or any of that, it's like I need to actually feel a lot for them rather than just that looks nice. If that makes any sense whatsoever.
Oh no, absolutely. And we'll talk about like skill and budget, complexity a little bit later on, and also about wearing it as well. Doc, what about yourself? How do you share the same sentiment exactly about the connection you have with the character when you cosplay, or are you a little bit more lenient about that? Is it a bit more, of a leeway for it?
I think with me, I tend to be drawn to like a character in a media. I'll choose Graves as the example for now from COD, and he's not the sort I would hate him as a person. Like I genuinely would hate him as a person, but he's the same as Cassandra. I'm like, he's interesting because he's got lots of elements to him behind the scenes, and there's lots of strings and did he die, did he not die, all that kind of stuff, which I found really interesting. But there are other characters like Hanma who I was like, it's him. And my friend was like, I don't want you to like Hammer, I want you to like Draken. I was like, I'm really sorry, but it's Hanma. So there is no rhyme or reason with me. I have to connect to the character in some way, or to the source material. So I did Jessie Raspberry from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
She's not my favourite character. I did her for a group, and I will probably never wear her again because of that, because she's not my favourite character. So for me, for longevity of cosplays, I pick characters that I know that I love.
Okay. Is it to the well, hang on, let me just quickly jump in to the both of you, but I'll let Doc go first. Do you also think about longevity then? That I will not wear this just once, I'll wear it at multiple events. Is that a factor?
Yeah, I have, as I've got older, and I try to invest more sort of time, effort, and money into my cosplays. I try to do cosplays that I know that I'm going to do more than once, or that I can use the parts for more than once. So I've bought all of the gear for Mission Graves from Call of Duty, which I know I can use for Ghost, with a few like modifications, so it will work for two characters, which means I'll use it for longer, which is better for the environment. You're all welcome. Good.
Thank you for
You're
that.
welcome.
For that consideration, Cassandra. That question: do you think about the longevity? Because I know you for at least 2 or 3 cosplays, but I do see you making upgrades to it. So is that a factor?
With me, yeah, I agree. I try to because I do invest a lot of time and money into my cosplays, and I do multiple versions of certain characters. Number one, I have to have the connection to the character, but also I want to be able to reuse parts as much as I can. Like, again, most of my stuff is either bought or commissioned because I have no talent. So I like with wigs that I commission, I'll make sure that it's a wig that I can use. Say if I'm going to use Cersei again as an example because I wear her quite often. With Cersei, I have at least right now, off the top of my head, thinking I've got at least 3 versions of her right now in my cupboard, and I've purposely gone for a wig styled in a way for her where it's her most generic hairstyle, so I can use it for multiple variations of her, which saves time because it means I don't need to worry about will this work. Saves money because again I can use it for multiple versions, and also again good for the environment for my lack of space that I've got as well. It works out because I do live at home, so there's only so much space I can have. And also, again, like, with commissioning stuff as well, because it's not cheap to commission things, I'd rather, if I am going to be paying out X amount of money for something, I want to know that I can use it for a long, extended period of time, rather than wear it to one event and then have it fall apart whilst wearing it. Because that's just not very pleasant when that happens. So
It's bad times, bears.
It's like, sorry, I'm rambling now.
No, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. Well, talking about commissioning and all that, I might as well carry on with you, Cassandra.
Yeah, all good.
Do you consider other factors when you pick a cosplay, such as like the complexity of it, the budget for it, and if you are making it, the time, and if you're not making it, do you think, oh, I know this person can make this cosplay for me, I can get them to commission it, or do you not consider that, and by the time you get that far, you've gone too deep?
Usually when it comes to coming up with ideas for cosplays, I do think on them for quite a while before I then go, yes, take my money, do it. So what my first step, so if I decide, you know what, I want to cosplay as this character, usually planned ones, might I say, there have been some characters I've done where, although they're now like mainstays, I will definitely do them over and over again. I do them over and over again. Like, I'm going to use Cersei again. I never planned to cosplay her originally. I mean, she was I had an idea of doing her, but the reason that I cosplayed as her was a good friend of mine, Chris, she goes by Crafting Chris's on Instagram. She bought me for my birthday a photo op at LFCC with Charles Dance, and she made for herself many years ago a Cersei dress. Now, we're very different in the way that our bodies are built. And I went to her house one day to work on something completely different. And when I was at her house, she just goes, try this on for me. So I went, oh, okay, fine. Somehow it managed to fit, and she goes, okay, that's yours now. We're meeting Charles Dance. I'll do Jamie, you'll do Cersei. There we go. And I was like, okay, fine. And then I wore her, and I just fell in love with wearing her, because I loved the character anyway, but I just never thought I could pull her off. And she happened, so because of Chris, I do Cersei, that's her fault. So if she ever yells at me for wearing Cersei too often, which she doesn't do, but if she did, it's her fault. And then there's also characters, again, who others have encouraged my chaos. My Queen Gorgo from the Zack Snyder film 300. Again, this always happens at LFCC. I was at LFCC, and another friend of mine, Fran Costumes on Instagram, I was debating buying a Spartan sword in a spur of chaos. And because it was very, very cheap. It was like ridiculously cheap. It's all foam, this shield, this Spartan shield. I think I said sword before, but it was a shield. And I basically walked around the whole convention the whole day debating getting it. So much so that Fran turned to me and went, if you don't buy this thing, I swear to God, I'm going to kill you myself. So I went, fine, I'll do it. And
this is how you know the friendship is real.
Yeah. And then I came home with like this massive Spartan shield. And I was like, oh, crap, now I'm going to have to cosplay from it because I just spent money on it. And I thought Gorgo was going to be a cheap cosplay, but she ended up being like one of the most expensive cosplays I ever did and one of the most niche cosplays I've ever done.
I'll only never think this is going to be a cheap cosplay because it never ever is.
I cosplayed her, like only 3 people recognised her, but you know what, I had a great time. But most of my stuff when it comes to commissions, because I commissioned the Gorgo dress, and some of my Cersei dresses since that original one I have commissioned. But when it comes to commissioning people, I will always message them for quotes. I tend to shop around. There are people who I have gone to for multiple costumes, but I tend to go look around for quotes, see what people can offer me. Also, I consider as well where they're based. I'm willing to commission those who do live abroad, even though I know it is more expensive in regards to shipping and customs fees. But if they're able to provide me with what I'm asking for at a relatively good price, they're not overcharging or undercharging themselves, and if they're doing it ethically as well, because that also makes a difference, then I'll tend to be like, okay, yeah, I'll consider going with you, and I'll set money aside and I'll save. I do it very slowly. I'll set money aside, I'll start saving up for it, and then I'll pay them for it. The same with wigs. I tend to, with all the wigs I've had styled, I tend to try to go to people who are in the cosplay community for that, as it's always nice to support fellow cosplayers in what we do. And it's just nicer as well, because it's like, oh, I have a friend who does wigs. I'm like, oh, great, you open commissions. You are perfect. This is what I'm looking for. How much can you do this for? They can give me a price, and if it's a good price, and if I'm happy with what they're asking and with their skill set as well, because people have different skill sets and different abilities to do things that others might not, then I'll be like, okay, yep, I'll go to you, and I know that it will last me however long without needing to be restyled. So it all correlates in my head, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's cool. Before I move over to Doc, you're talking about not being recognised, only being recognised by 3 people.
Yeah.
So, is that a factor in your
Not really.
decision? Do you know what I'm saying?
I do. With me, it tends not to be. Like, I don't mind. Like, if people recognise the character or not. It's nice when they do, because it's for the social element. It's nice to make friends with people who you have the same love of that character with. One of my closest friends, we met because we were dressed as the same character. And the reason we became friends was we spent, I think it was like an hour at the con just chatting about this character and the love we have for them. And then we messaged each other afterwards, and then 3 years later, we're just really close friends. But it doesn't really make a difference, but it is nice when you get recognised, especially, again, using Gorgo, because she is very obscure. When I had, I think, 3 people come up to me, other than, like, the friends who obviously knew that I was doing her. One of them, someone came up to me, like, are you dressed as the Queen from 300? And I was like, yes, I am. They went, oh, I never would have thought that. And I know the reason for that is because I wear a dress she wears for literally 30 seconds in the film, because I can't do things easily, because I'm good at being complicated like that. And then the other 2 people, one of whom knew the film really well, they were like, that's amazing, I love that. Nobody ever cosplays as her. And I think the third person, they just came up, they asked what I was cosplaying from, because they just thought that the dress was really nice. And I explained, and they went, oh, now you say it, I remember now, that's really cool. And it's just nice to start conversations around the characters you're cosplaying as, because I don't understand when people have competition with those who do the same character as you. Because if anything, it annoys me, but if anything, it's a way to make friends, because you've already got something in common.
Oh, 100%, but oh God, I like, it doesn't affect me at all as a photographer, but I have heard stories about that, and it does, like, what's the word? It really pisses me off when people have that opinion and go, oh my God, this is my costume, this is my character, I pissed around this. Oh wait, I've just said that earlier today. Anyway, so oh God, awkward. No, genuinely, no, I just find it such a weird thing that people have. But,
I've never understood it. Like, even from when I first started cosplaying, there was some that I have had interactions with people who are like, oh no, but like, you can't cosplay that character because I'm planning to cosplay that character. And I was like, but we can still both do it. It doesn't make a difference, because we're both gonna, even if it's the same outfit the character wears, it doesn't make a difference, because you're obviously not gonna look the same as me, because at the end of the day, we're not the actor who plays the role. We're just nerds putting on costumes and having fun. Like, the whole point of this is to have fun.
Oh, absolutely, 100%, 100%. I'm getting a bit worried Doc has been quiet, so I'm going to bring them in. So.
Sorry, I'm good at rap.
No, I just worry that they are like plotting against me, so.
I'm always doing that.
I knew it.
Can I help?
Yes.
What?
Yay.
God damn it. Oh, anyway, same question to you, Doc. Do you like consider any of these factors about like the complexity, the budget, the timing, and also being recognised in public?
Yeah, I have to plan quite a lot ahead, because I am disabled, so my ability to do things and tolerate things can be a lot lower depending on how I'm feeling. So in May, for example, I had bursitis in my hip. So my hip would lock and I was in a lot of pain. So I deliberately picked cosplays that had really comfortable shoes and that were sort of, if you like, sensible-ish clothing, so that I didn't stand out too much. Granted, dressed as A2, I think I did, but that's not the point. So I have to plan for things like that as well. And I don't enjoy cosplaying female characters very much. There's a few exceptions. A2 is one of them. I like cosplaying Momo from My Hero Academia. I was discussing this with somebody else the other day, and I can't think of any other female characters I've cosplayed recently. So yeah, I tend to steer away from female characters, which means I then have to think, oh, okay, so I have to wear a binder. How many layers is it? because I get overheated very quickly because I'm large, and I have to kind of bear all those things in mind. However, I will also say that has not stopped me, and I suffer.
The things we do for love.
Yeah, so I'm that idiot I had on a binder, a t-shirt, a shirt, and a proper RAF greatcoat.
Wait, in May?
In May.
Oh my god, you're
Yeah.
mad. And I thought I was mad for doing technically a corset and a half in May, but ending up with lovely sunburn. But okay, you win.
Oh yeah, that's like you got sunburned.
Sorry, I think you remember how sunburnt I got, Eddie. It was pretty funny.
Oh no.
Basically, because you were, I think from what I remember,
it was from wearing Cersei.
And obviously,
and she's quite low cut, and the corset pushes everything to the sky. And with how sunny it was, I didn't even realize I was burnt until I was showering like later that night when I got home.
That's how they get you.
And so my face was fine from all the makeup, but the rest of me was very fine. And then I went to con the next day as Triss Marigold, so I was just awkwardly red on my entire chest, but the rest of me was fine.
Oh no!
And it was just pretty fine. I was like, you know what? I've got battle wounds from MCM, but we'll take it.
Yeah. So my friend Cal was the exact same.
Eddie, stop being mean to me for looking like a starving Victorian child normally. I can't help that I'm this white.
I mean, anyway, you were saying, Doc, about Cal?
Yeah, no, Cal got equally as sunburned, bless them. And the back of their neck was like radiating. So in a lot of photos, like candid photos you see of us two on the Sunday, they're holding their prop book over the back of their neck. So just got this really awkward like crick in their neck from trying to protect their neck from further sunburn.
Oh, bless.
I was like, I told you to put sun cream on, and they were like, I don't need to hear that.
The worst part with me is that I actually did put sun cream on.
That makes it even worse. You did everything right.
I literally was wearing Factor 50, but the power of corsets, folks, like, that's all I'm going to say.
Sorry, I'm generally I'm not an absolute asshole, but I am actually, so sorry. I'm not.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, that's questionable.
Maybe that's what we need to do. We need to start putting corsets on solar panels.
Yeah, maybe that would.
Maybe it'll help.
Corset and then like a really tight metal belt
on
a solar panel. There you go. That'll work.
Oh no!
I wonder if it works for those big windmill things.
Oh, that's a good question.
Are we talking about actual windmills or just?
Yeah.
Okay. It's not a metaphor.
No. Yes. No, it's not.
I'm sorry. I'm sitting there going, what?
I was just wondering where your brain just went to, but I kind of don't want to know. So.
Have you met Dot before? Oh no, you haven't. That's probably why you're not.
That's why. Yeah, I don't make any sense. You have to catch up on all of my lore.
I'll have to.
I'll send you the pack. It's fine.
Please do.
Here's a welcome pack about Dog. Read thoroughly, because once you've read it, or once you take this out of my hands, that's it. You're locked in. There's nothing you can't escape.
Yes, the contract is sealed.
I mean, I'm only small. I'm not very good at running. I have small legs, so.
I'm too lazy to run, so I won't chase you. So that's all good. You could just speed walk.
Oh, I'm good at that. I live in London, so.
Oh, there you go. See, there you go. See, you'd outrun me. I'm just like, nah. I don't even run for trains anymore. I'm just like, if I can't get there. If I have to get there by running, I'm not going.
Oh, no, I'm the same. It's like, I just don't want to run.
No.
Yeah, the amount of times, F, that is exactly the word, the F. Just the amount of times I've chosen not to run because of
It's like, I'll see people running for trains and I'm there like, folks, there's literally a train 2 minutes after this one.
Especially on the tube. Like, why are you running? Why are you running?
I've mentioned this on the tube on the podcast before, but why can't people let people the train off first? Do you not understand?
Oh, that was my pet peeve today, getting home on time for this. Like, there was, like, delays on my tube line, and people just weren't letting the people get off the train, and I was like, can you let the people off? And then once the people are off, then you can get on. It was just like... I literally let, like, 3 trains go by before I got on, because I was like, I'm not dealing with this. I don't like humans enough for this.
No.
Indeed. Yeah. Anyway, let's get back to the podcast.
Yes.
I'll start with Doc on this one. How important is it to get like feedback or kind of like get the cosplay communities like, I don't know, feedback about getting like picking the right cosplays. Basically, I'm trying to circle around the question of, have you done one of those posts that says pick my next cosplay on social media? And because I fucking hate those, I genuinely hate that. Right, I know I asked you, I'm asking you this question, but I hate those posts because I can only imagine that I can say, oh, cosplay as Harley Quinn. That's my favorite character. Doesn't mean everyone in the world should cosplay as Harley Quinn. Yes, I know there's different versions of her, so there are actually quite large choices about it. But the same token, it's like, you don't know if they're comfortable wearing Harley Quinn. You know, at one point of her timeline, she was quite she was abused towards by the Joker. It's like, that's not something that you should be promoting towards people. So yeah, you don't know if what you're saying to that person saying, oh, you should cosplay this character, if they have a problem with it or not. Also, again, the other questions I've asked about time, complexity, budget, and all that, just because I suggest doesn't mean you should do it. I mean, you can ask someone to do Ascaluna from Evangelion, but then you can go down either the bodysuit lycra route, or you can go or latex. But in either sense, they're quite revealing material. It's like, it's not forgiving from what I've been told. So, you know, like things like that really baffles me why people put those posts up, because like, are you starved of ideas, or is it just another ulterior motive behind it?
See, I will also join in the complaining, because my favourite thing about these things, these choose my cosplay for me, is really, really popular people will put them up and they're like, choose my cosplay for me, and someone will say, I don't know, Nahida from Genshin Impact. And they'll like post, they don't post anything apart from the ones they don't want to do, and it's always like, I've told you a million times I don't want to do this cosplay. I'm like, why did you put the box up?
Yeah, that
when
annoys
you know
me.
that they're going to say, cosplay this character that you've said you don't want to. Why? Anyway,
yeah,
so.
I don't get when people do that. It's like, especially if you follow somebody for a while and they've specifically stated on their page, I'm not going to cosplay from X fandom because I don't have a good relationship with it, or it brings back memories I don't want to think about. And then they do one of these like, oh, who should I cosplay as? And then people send them stuff from that fandom. It just like, especially if
surprise Pikachu face. Of course people are going to do that, because that's what people do.
People are horrible and they'll do that because they want a reaction. It's like, I'll admit, I've done some of those posts in the past when I was bored. I was just curious as to what people would suggest. I wasn't looking for like advice on who I should cosplay next. I was just intrigued to see like, oh, what do people actually think I would suit? Is there any who I would do? Is there any I wouldn't do? And at one point, so this was back when I used to do Harry Potter cosplay, and Bellatrix Lestrange was my main Harry Potter cosplayer. Cosplay, English. No, well done, Cassandra. I'm so sorry. And when I cosplay as Bellatrix, and the amount of times I would just get sent other Helena Bonham Carter characters to do when I do this, and I was like, I get it. Like, I'm good at pulling off Bellatrix. It's great, but that doesn't mean I want to cosplay every single one of her characters that's ever existed. Just because I do one of them doesn't mean I want to do all of them. It's like, even like, yes, like some of the characters were great. Like somebody suggested Mrs. Lovett from Sweeney Todd, and I've always wanted to do her, but I won't do her until I have the financial means to do her well.
Yeah.
Because that is my favourite film of all time. So I won't just do it half-heartedly. But at the same time, there was others who were just going, oh, you should do like X character by her, when I've never posted about liking the film or anything. And it was just like, I know you're saying this because I do this character of hers.
Yeah.
But I'm asking you for suggestions other than this because I'm curious what people will suggest to me.
Yeah.
Just like, I won't do them. Like, maybe I'll do it in future, who knows? But I just want people's opinions because I'm curious. Like, I could just be bored. Most time it's when I'm bored. I'm like, I'm bored. What are people going to say?
Yeah.
Entertain me.
So, back to the original question, I have done them before. During lockdown, I did a lot of like just tests and at-home stuff because I reverted to full at-home working, and my husband's job changed, so he was doing 12-hour shifts. So I had a lot of spare time on my hands, and I wasn't allowed to go out, obviously. So I did a lot of them then, and I tested characters that I would never actually make into a full cosplay. I don't think actually any of the characters I just randomly tested I did carry on into one, which was Junko from Danganronpa, but other than that, none of the others. It's just, I mean, I cosplay mostly either side characters or characters from dead fandoms. Like, I am trying to resuscitate the gangster fandom, one person at a time. Cal, if you're listening to this, watch fucking Gangster. Slowly trying. So it's I've never done a cosplay for the community feedback, to be honest, and I got some quite negative feedback when I did Graves, which just made me all the more determined to do him again. So, you know, because I'm that kind of contrary person. And somebody said to me when I cosplayed Hammer, they were like, "Are you aware that he literally aids in a murder?" I'm like, "Are you aware that he is literally a fictional?"
The amount of times I've had arguments with people, they're like, "You're like, well, not really arguments, but when I've cosplayed as Cersei, people are like, oh, like, she sleeps with her brother. That's gross." And I'm like, she's not real, right? Like, that the actors Lena Headey and Nikolai Coster-Waldau, that they're not actually related.
Yeah.
There is no relation.
And that's the point of their storyline. Is it's supposed to make you feel something? It's supposed to make you feel repulsed or angry or whatever.
It's like, again, like when I cosplay from The Witcher, like, and I do the sorceresses, I do Triss and Yennefer. I'm not actually a witch. Like, I don't actually have magic. So it just annoys me when people like take things so literally.
Yeah.
I'm cosplaying because I like the character and they have a cool outfit and I want to wear pretty things.
Yeah.
Just leave it at that.
Someone was like, have you played the game? Do you know that Graves is a literal war criminal? I was like, oh my god, it's a video game, people.
Like, first with my Witcher cosplays, because I still haven't sat through and played the whole game, because I don't own any consoles. I've watched playthroughs, I've read the books about 3 times, I've seen the Netflix show. It's like, I know my Witcher lore quite well, I just haven't actually played it for myself, because I can't afford a console, because I'm poor, thanks to cosplay. But anyway, people will be like, have you played the games? I'm like, no, I've watched playthroughs, and sometimes you will get the odd person who's like, but that doesn't count though, and I'm like, yes, if you look at the actual, how extensive this world is, the books give you more than both the games and the show combined. And like, no, it doesn't. So then I turn to these people, and I'm just like, have you read the books? No. And I'm like, okay then.
Fake fan.
I'm like, alright then, so you're having a go at me for the exact same reason about the games. Do you realise how unintelligent that is? And then usually they just get angry, and I'm like, yeah, don't argue with me because I'm good at arguing.
And like when people say stuff like that to me, I'm always like, do you think I picked this character without knowing their story? Like,
yeah, that annoys me.
Do you think I was just like that one randomly?
I just one day was like, you know what, I'm gonna spend like £300 on a cosplay because I just flipped a coin and went, I'm gonna do you.
This is your government assigned cosplay. That's not how it works.
No.
Doesn't it? No? Are you sure?
Unfortunately. We might be able to get funding that way.
No. Eddie, who would you choose for me to cosplay if you had to choose a character for me to cosplay?
What's a character that's mute?
That's mean. That's mean.
No, genuine. I would never give that opinion to someone because I don't know what would. Because like I said, it's not just the character from the outset. Because like I said, I can imagine you would. I think it is easier to cosplay a character you relate to. For months now, and I'm getting close to this point. I'm just waiting for funds to not disappear from my account. But basically, I do want to cosplay Wong from the MCU.
Oh,
no! Shut up! Oh no! It gets worse. So I just watched the premiere episode of Loki last night, and I was looking at. There's a character called Oberus or Obi, which I now can't remember the guy's name. He's the one that was in Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Ki Hu Kwang.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I looked at his costume outfit and I went, I do not want to be the guy that cosplays every Asian character on display. Right, so I think I was going to bring up this story a long time ago. Actually, no. later on, I think. Yes, that's actually the next question I was going to ask. But basically, I did a cosplay of Glenn from The Walking Dead.
Yes.
Yep.
Now, I wasn't like revolting against it, but I did think,
What? Am I being typecast?
yes. So someone said, like, this was years and years ago. So, Ed, would you like to join us in a cosplay group? I go, oh my god, I would love to do that. Yes. And then they go, so what's the group? It's also Walking Dead, and I went, oh, I know who they want me to cosplay. Oh, god damn it. And I can't remember if this episode of Big Bang Theory came out before or after this incident, but it did. It now comes to me, sort of the one moment where they're all dressing up for New Year's Eve for the comic book shop, and they ask Penny to do Wonder Woman because she's a girl, not because she wanted to, she chose to. It's because she's just a girl. And I just thought, I know they're not the same situations, but in my head they are. And like, ugh, God, no. It's like, I understand that it's easier for me to cosplay an Asian character, but yeah, that's like, I just feel a bit boxed in for it. And like I said, I've basically every Asian in the MCU, which is Wong, Agent Wu, from the Ant-Man series, and then Obi. I'm just like, oh god, Ed, come on, no, stop doing that, no. But anyway, well, I'll start with Cassandra with this question.
Okay.
Have you picked a cosplay that at some point you thought, okay, actually this doesn't suit me for whatever reason? It could be because, oh, the character doesn't suit you anymore, something has happened to it, or budget went out of, spiral, things like that. I mean, at what, how far in the process have you got before you've gone, no?
So I've got quite a few answers to that, as there are multiple characters I've done who I no longer cosplay as. So my most prominent one that I no longer cosplay as, even though it was my first cosplay and I cosplayed as her for like 5 years, was Bellatrix Lestrange from Harry Potter. As much as I still love the character to bits, I just can't support the author. And even though I know it's not directly implicating the author, me cosplaying as her or not, the love I had for that character kind of just started to go a bit because of all the backlash, and with the author just continuing to, I'm not going to name them because I don't want to draw any attention, but with the author just digging and digging and digging, it was just making me angry, and I was like, you know what, I value people's well-being over a character more, so I'm just going to stop cosplaying. And also, not just cosplaying, like cosplaying as her, but also thinking about that character, she was never a very comfortable cosplay to wear. The wigs were always really heavy, so I'd always end up with headaches. 2 corsets at once for her, which isn't healthy, do not recommend. And it was just like a lot of it was just a heavy costume to wear, and it just wasn't very pleasant to wear. And sometimes I do miss it. There are days where I'm like, even with this MCM, I was like trying to consider who to wear. And I was like, oh, I kind of miss the days where I could just be like, you know what, I'll throw Bellatrix on for a day because she's easy. But I don't miss it in that way because there's other my interest has just moved on to other characters. If that's logical. Other characters I've cosplayed as who I no longer do. Again, I still cosplay from Game of Thrones, but my first ever Game of Thrones cosplay was Marjorie Tyrell. And the main reason I did her was the final season had just come out and I wanted a Game of Thrones cosplay. And I found somebody on Depop selling the entire costume and wig. It was like ridiculously cheap. I was a student at the time, so I was on like a really low budget. And I thought, you know what, let's just do it. And I only wore her, I think, once to an event. But I loved it. But looking back, I was like, actually, no, this character isn't really for me. But I still love the character, and I miss that cosplay. Maybe I'll bring her back in time, I don't know. But my interest just lied elsewhere. But I have also done characters who are like just for groups. Again, the author who I won't name, I did Narcissa Malfoy in a group because I had a Lucius Malfoy and I had a Draco Malfoy, so I got to be in the middle of that, which was really fun. And I think that was, when did I do that? I think it was October 2018 I did that, and I only ever wore that cosplay the once because I just wasn't keen on it on me. Like, it's a great character, great costume, but I just didn't like myself as that character. When I looked at the photos, they were great pictures, but again, I just looked at it and I was like, no, I don't like this on me. And at the end of the day, when it comes to cosplay, I don't think you should just do something for the sake of it. You have to feel fully comfortable in yourself when you're wearing something, and you shouldn't just wear it just because other people go, oh, that's really nice when you do that. No, like, you need to put your own comfort first. And since then, I have learned to actually stick up for myself and say that more.
Cool. No, that's fine. No, I totally understand that. Doc, what about yourself? Have you started a cosplay project and then gone, no, can't do it anymore?
Yeah, I have. So a few times. A lot of mine comes from the ADHD urge to make everything. And like, I like planning stuff. That's what I do in my job. I plan stuff. I organize. So I'm really good at spreadsheets. I'm really good at making stuff look nice. And then it comes down to actually having to do the things that are on the to-do list. And I find that really challenging. I'm sure there's a lot of people that can commiserate with that. But it also, I've done it the other way as well, where I've gone all the way through. I've got the cosplay on. I'm at the con, and I'm like, I hate this, and I want to go home. And pretty much every time that's happened, it's been a character that I'm doing to be in a group. So I have now got to a point where if I'm going to be in a group, I say, this is the character I'm doing, or I'm not doing it anymore. I'm too old to be uncomfortable for an entire day that's really expensive day out, and that I feel horrible in. And it's fine because it's at the time you're having fun, you're with your friends, you're in a group, it's great, it's a laugh, but then you get pictures back and stuff and you just remember how you felt. And it's not a nice feeling to kind of look back on a day that was so much fun and be like, yeah, but I felt like shit.
I agree with that.
It's not worth it. Some of my favorite photos are the ones where I've got like all of my friends together and we're all in different cosplays, nobody matches, and it's just like chaos. Those are also really fun, and I'm like, okay, but you can still have fun with your friends and not be uncomfortable. So why would I do this to myself anymore? So I'm a lot more critical now about if I'm going to be in a group. It's not so bad when you're cosplaying like one-on-one with somebody, because generally you tend to cosplay either couples or people who have lots of chemistry or are on screen a lot together, which I find is fine because they're generally, each of you will gravitate to a different person. But if it's a big group like Kakeguri, for example, when I did Yumemi, I don't like cosplaying girls. And her contact lenses were ridiculously restrictive. My wig was really, really long, and I will never wear a wig that long to a con ever again, apart from when I do rip. She's an exception. I was in a skirt, and it was just like sensory overload. I felt really like dysphoric and uncomfortable, and I had a great day, and then I got home, and I was just like, I'm putting all of that away, and I think I've sold everything from that cosplay, because I felt weird about it. I don't do that anymore. I'm in a group for New Carnival in January, and I said, if I can't cosplay Kuya, I'm not doing it. And everyone was like, nobody else likes him. Doc, you're fine. I was like, okay, there we go. That's great. So I don't let myself feel like that anymore because it's just not fun.
It's like comfort needs to be the priority, I'd say. It's like, don't just do something for the sake of it. Like, again, I'm going to use the series that I would not name, but when I did cosplay as Narcissa Malfoy, I did her because I was intrigued and I wanted to try doing it for myself. And then the group just so happened to work around it because I had the friends doing both Lucius and Draco, and they were like, coincidentally, it was all on the same day. So the group wasn't really planned per se, but it just ended up happening, and we were like, oh, we have to get some family photos on this day because it would just make sense.
Yeah.
But I've cosplayed, so I haven't really done like big groups. Like since then, like I'll cosplay one-on-one with somebody, and if we run into someone from the same fandom, like, yes, great, we'll get photos with them, that's lovely. If not, it's not a big deal. I'm not too worried. The main thing with cosplay with me is I do it, number one, I just like dressing up because I'm theatrical, always have been, but also I do it for the social element. All of my best friends and closest friends I have met through cosplay. and through going to cons. And people at work have been like, oh, but you complain when you're putting costumes together and this and that. And I was like, yeah, I complain about it, but when I wear it and it all comes together, it's amazing. But also, I don't just do it for just wearing a costume. I do it for the social element.
Yeah, I think I'm totally the same as well. And as I've got older, you saying about your complaint, your colleagues saying, "Oh yeah, but you always complain when you're putting them together." My husband does the same because I 3D print a lot of accessories and stuff for my cosplays. And he's like, "But you're always up there, and all I can hear is swearing continually." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I like the end result, so the swearing is just part of the process for
It's all
me."
part of it. It's like we go through hell, but like at the end of the day, it all comes together and looks great when it.
Yeah, like I'm dressed up like a 6'7" bunny. It's great.
It's
So
like
what?
I cosplayed my Vieira character from Final Fantasy a couple of weekends ago. That was the last thing I 3D printed stuff for.
that sounds like so much fun.
Oh, it was so good. I was just a giant purple bunny. It was so good.
I mean, the last time I cosplayed, I didn't even last a full day. It was for LFCC Summer, and I was the only reason I was there because I usually don't do that con because it's just too hot for me. I think when I ran into you there, Eddie, I was in my normal clothes at that point because I literally lasted, I think, an hour and a half in cosplay, and then I was like, no, get me out of this. And the only reason I went was because I was supposed to be meeting a guest who cancelled literally 24 hours before, but I already had the ticket. I was like, you know what, let's just go for a nice day out.
Yeah.
And it was weird. It was my first time doing a con not in cosplay, but I was just too hot in my cosplay. And it isn't even a heavy cosplay, it's a lightweight one, but I was really struggling. And even though I wasn't in costume, it was still nice to see friends and chat to friends. And I think for me, that was like the most enjoyable part of it, was just seeing the friends that I have. And I mean, I didn't even know you were coming, Eddie, so when I ran into you, it was just really funny when you were just screaming for me and I couldn't see you because I'm blind as hell.
To be fair, I didn't tell anyone I was going. I just turned up with some friends, and yeah, I'm glad I didn't even take a camera with me.
And it was just really nice because, again, the social element, that even if like you aren't shooting and you're not in cosplay, people will still always say hello. People will still invite you to like go around with them, and it's just really nice that the community has its positives and its negatives, but that's one of the positives, I'd say.
Oh no, absolutely. I've just noticed the time on the podcast, and I just want to like get one or two more questions out because we are dangerously running out of time. I mean, you've both covered that question quite nicely, so we'll move on. You talk about group cosplays, and I just very briefly, and I'll start with Cassandra on this one. How much of a choice do you get when it comes to like group cosplays? You know, is it literally you have to get there quickly so you can get the characters you like the most, or do you end up getting a character that you just want to be part of a group, but do a character you may not like?
I mean, me personally, I've never done any like really big groups. Like the biggest group I did was probably the Malfoy group, where there was only 3 of us, so that worked out quite well for us. But I wouldn't know in regards to like when people organise massive group shoots where there's only one of each character, because I've never done that. One day maybe I'd like to, but again,
okay, hang on. Would you then, if there was a big group?
Yes.
And there was, but all the characters that you wanted to do were taken, and there was only 1 or 2 that you don't mind or didn't like. Would you still join the group?
I think it depends on the characters again. Like if it was a character who wasn't my favourite, but I had stuff already that I could use to make their cosplay. Like say if I had bits and pieces from other costumes that I could just combine, then I'd consider it. But if I didn't, then I'd probably say no, I'll just wait. I'll do it another day. I'm not too upset. But again, like when it comes to those things, I think it is definitely a case of people do it as like a first come, first serve. So you do need to get in there quick. But with me personally, as if anyone looks at my page, I cosplay usually multiple characters from different fandoms. So again, with The Witcher, I do both Yennefer and Triss. With Game of Thrones, I do Cersei and I do Melisandre. So I do multiple characters. So I've got options. Like if that was the case, I would have options.
Okay.
But it's different for everybody because again, like Doc said earlier, like quite a while ago now, there are people who again, like nowadays people are cosplaying, they watch a show and they go, I have to cosplay as every single character from that show. So there are, like, nowadays people tend to have a lot more options. But again, everyone's different. So I can't really say.
Genshin Impact. Genshin Impact.
That just seems to be a fountain of cosplays there.
Honestly, like, every MCM, I just see all the massive groups of Genshin cosplayers, and I'm like, you know what? Yes, there's like hundreds of them, but they're having fun, and that's all that matters.
Oh, totally. I've cosplayed from Genshin, I play it, but it just does make me laugh because you see people and their like entire cosplay wardrobe is just various Genshin Impact cosplays, and I'm like, there's so much more out there, guys. Come on. There's other things, I promise.
No, but like if they enjoy it, they enjoy it. Like
Yeah,
I don't
very
mind.
true.
Yeah. What about yourself, Doc? Have you been in many? I think you mentioned it, and you sound like you're quite. What's the word? Reserved by it. You're not like you need to be in there. You're like, oh, what's left? Oh, is it that character? That type of thing.
Yeah, I think the older I get, the less I humour my own discomfort for other people's game. Which is true for a lot of things. It's not just cosplay, it's true for work and things as well. You know, I am happy to do most things. I'm quite happy to toddle along with people and interact with people, do whatever. This goes for work and cosplay and everything else. But I will no longer be that person who will just fit in or fulfill a role because, oh, that they're spare, so would you like to join? I don't do that anymore. I used to, because I was so desperate to have like connections and friends and stuff like that, but I've realised that I really only enjoy cosplaying in groups like that with people I'm already friends with. To me, it's not a way to make friends, it's a way to celebrate the friendships I've already got.
Ah, okay then.
And
I like that.
Yeah, and my friend, all of my friends know the kind of characters I like to cosplay, the characters I cosplay well, and tend to be like, if we do a group, Doc will definitely cosplay so and so. And it has worked pretty well since. I decided that I was not going to torment myself anymore. It's not torment myself is a bit dramatic, but I'm leaving it in. Torment myself. I'll be dramatic for a day.
I like that. I mean, I feel that, again, like myself and my friends, we all cosplay from similar fandoms, but like we often won't cosplay from those fandoms at the same time.
Yeah.
But even when we do, like, my friends know exactly, like, I say I have a type. I do. It's in my Instagram bio. I cosplay as witches and bitches. There's no in between. Somebody, I think it was at MCM, yeah, someone at MCM said that to me, and I was like, that's great, I'm putting that in my bio. But it's true, it's like, I either cosplay as villains or people with a resting face, so my friends know exactly the sort of characters I tend to go for, so they're not going to one day turn around to me and be like, oh, will you cosplay as Daenerys? I'd be like, we sure about that? And I'll be honest, I've considered it, but I don't have the urge to do it, so I wouldn't just do it, be like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. Like, there would have to be a reason behind that. And I do have a type. You don't have to have a type. People can cosplay whoever they want to cosplay. That's the whole joy of cosplaying.
Yeah.
It is so versatile. But I know with myself, I tend to like either the witchy ones or the ones with the resting bitch face, because I'm quite good at that. Apart from when Eddie makes me corpse mid-shoot, but that's a whole other story.
How am I being blamed for already? Oh, Jesus. Well, I say already. It's towards the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Right. Last question. We'll do like literally one line. And besides the line, pick a cosplay that you have a connection to. Let's have something a little bit different. If there's one tip that you can give about picking the right cosplay for yourself, besides you have to have a connection to this character, what would it be? And I'll start with Doc.
Mine would be cosplay a character that you feel comfortable as, not in a personality way. I don't think that I'm anything like Graves in real life, but like the costume's comfortable, I like the character, and I pull those things together, and that's why I chose him, because I think you've got to align all of your stars to make it a good first experience as a cosplayer.
Nice. Cassandra?
I'd say to myself, because I even think this when I plan my cosplays, if you were in the same world as X character, what would you want to wear? And is it like any of the characters in this world? If it is, and if that's the case, then go ahead, cosplay that. Just as, again, comfort is key. Don't wear something that you wouldn't be comfortable wearing. For example, I know I'd hate wearing armor. I have all the respect for people who do it. I think it's incredible, but I know that I couldn't cope with that. I mean, I can barely cope with myself on a good day, let alone with all the armor. So it's like, think about comfort as well.
Mm.
And make sure that you're comfortable both in yourself and what you're wearing. And don't push things too much, because you do want to have fun.
And I'd also say, don't pick a character just because you look like them.
Yes, that too.
Even if you don't like them. So I get, particularly when I first started cosplaying, I got typecast because I'm 6 foot tall. So people would be like, oh, and you'll cosplay Erwin, won't you? And it was like, thankfully, I really like Erwin from Attack on Titan. But if I didn't, I would have felt really weird about it.
Mm.
So just because I'm tall doesn't mean that I have to cosplay that person. So don't put pressure on yourself.
I can, not being tall, but I can relate to being told, oh, you should do this, because when I cosplayed as Bellatrix, I mean, since then I have put some weight on, so my face has changed, but I would constantly get, oh, do you know you look just like Helena Bonham Carter? Like, it's weird how much you look like her. And when I look at my old photos that are on my page, like, as Bellatrix, yes, I can see it. I can see why people would make that comment. But the comments that angered me when I'd get them was when I wasn't cosplaying as her.
Mm.
Like, the first time I wore Cersei, I remember that day clearly, because again, it was my friend made the costume, gave it to me, and it was a great day. But someone came up to me and they were like, you know, you look just like Helena Bonham Carter, why aren't you cosplaying one of her characters? And I was like, because I'm not her.
Yeah.
I'm not Helena Bonham Carter, I am Cassandra. I am a person, let me wear who I want to wear. Just because I might have similar features to an actor. Like, you don't have to look like an actor to cosplay as the character. The whole point is we're nerds having fun. Just let me have my fun.
Yeah, it goes both ways. You don't have to look like the actor to cosplay the character, but just because you look like the actor doesn't mean you have to cosplay the character.
And, like, again, it isn't a lookalike competition here. We're doing this. We're all nerds in costumes, just going to conventions to have fun and to see friends. Like, at the end of the day, that's what the priority should be, is to enjoy yourself.
And to eat.
And to eat.
Lots of food.
And to eat, and to drink water, and to be able to use the bathroom.
And to put sun cream on.
Yes, and sun cream. And
I was going to say...
Dress warmly in the winter, don't get hypothermia.
I was going to say some of that sounded like tugged at me, but no, not the last two. I tend to I don't put sun cream on. I don't usually get burnt, but I'll probably now get sunburnt now in the winter.
It's nice for some, isn't it?
Mm.
No comment. I think that ties up the podcast very nicely towards the end. So let's end the podcast. Thank you very much for talking about picking the right cosplayers. I hope people who are listening to this got something out of it. And yeah, it'd be good to hear some people's opinion about how you would pick your podcast. So yeah, just drop it in either on Facebook. Yeah, Facebook, the Instagram thing that goes up, clip I use, things like that. That'd be really nice to hear some people's opinions. Anyway, let's do links. Cassandra, if people need to find you on the social medias, where can they find you?
So the main one I use is Instagram, and my Instagram is C as in for Charlie _ and then Lestrange as in Bellatrix. That's how I've always said it, and that's how I always shall.
Nice. Doc?
I'm if the social media exists, I probably am on it for some reason, and it's all Tasagare Cos, which is TASOGARE, and then Cos, COS.
Cool. I don't know what I'm really saying. If people need to find me on the social medias, if you go to foodandcosplay.org/links, that's where you'll find my social media, such as links. As I'll take from what's her name's comment from last podcast. This is the only dead name I'll be using, Twitter.
Indeed.
Yes, the only dead name that everyone should be using.
Agreed.
Yes. If you go to foodandcosplay.org, you'll see daily cosplay photos that I'll upload that I've taken at Comic-Con and location shoots. If you go to foodandcosplay.org/podcast, you'll find previously recorded podcasts with Doc and other topics that I've done. Hopefully I'll get Cassandra back on the podcast in the near future.
Haven't scared me away yet.
I think it's the other way around.
I can be scary.
To be fair, if Doc keeps coming back, there's no way you're scaring me off.
No, that is fair.
Yeah,
Yet.
Yet. if you go to patreon.com/food and cosplay, there will be podcast extras you can listen to, which I'll be bringing these two into a podcast extra. We'll be probably talking about how, well, it's probably quite obvious, but I'll double check how did Cassandra get her cosplay name. And I don't know if we've talked about Doc's cosplay name, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about favourite cosplays that they've done to date and why. Maybe talk about Halloween. Who knows? We'll talk about that. So if you're interested in that, go over to patreon.com/food and cosplay. And until then, if you don't go to there, you don't do that, and you'd rather do something else, blah, 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 and wait until next week, I will see you next week. And so I'll say goodbye, and they'll say goodbye. So bye, guys!
Bye!
Fucking hell, the hell is over.